You know, building a house is a process which, well, is one that people like to de-risk. But then, of course, there are some human beings who just want to take risks, who want to push ideas further, be brave. You have to ask why they want to do that. And the answer is, of course, is in pushing, in taking more risk. The rewards can sometimes be greater.
It's ages since we've been up here.
Andy Stakes and Jeanette Hardy have been married for 10 years and live in Andy's home county of Yorkshire. Having both had busy professional lives, they're looking forward to a more relaxing future with their two huge Newfoundland dogs, Nemo and Jess.
We've always enjoyed the outdoors. We love walking. Obviously, we've got the dogs and they enjoy a good walk as well. Nemo.
Look at the camera.
It was Nemo and Jess who inspired their seasonal business. A dog-friendly canal boat hire company.
What we've got are a fleet now of boats that are traditional looking on the outside but very contemporary inside.
There's no horse brasses or anything like that. It's all very, very modern. We couldn't have picked a better day to come out on the boat. All we need now is a pub.
Yeah.
Jeanette has a career in textiles, so she designs the interiors of the boats. While Andy, a former civil engineer, helps build and maintain their small armada.
It's such a gorgeous day.
Life on the canal is slow and idyllic.
Lonely duck, yeah.
But Andy yearns for a little more excitement.
So my real passion is sailing. But unfortunately, where we live, in the middle of Yorkshire, we couldn't be further away from a sailing ground.
Having once sailed the Atlantic, Andy's now persuaded Jeanette to join him on a maritime adventure. Galloway in southwest Scotland has a remote and rugged coast. A wild place where Andy and Jeanette have now committed their future. They've already spent £120,000 on an old military listening station. A 1-acre site that has planning for a spectacular dog-friendly home.
This is going to be the house of my dreams. Hopefully, it's going to be the house of Jeanette's dreams as well. You know, if it's not the house of your dreams, then you've only got yourself to blame.
I'll have to knock it down and start again.
Good grief. I mean, what a wild, magnificent, brutal place to build a house. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Wow, what a remote and desolate spot. Why would two people from Yorkshire decide that they wanted to live and settle and retire on the southwest coast of Scotland?
We're both very decisive and impulsive, and
Yeah.
The opportunities like this don't come along very often, do they? You know, this is an amazing location.
How did you find this place?
We were on holiday actually in the area. We were out with the dogs walking along here, and we saw the for sale sign.
It's a Cold War listening station. It's here to snoop on the Russian subs as they were coming through the sea. Yeah.
So of what I see here now, how much goes?
Everything.
Everything?
Everything goes. I'm going to attempt to build a three-sided waterproof box, and then the whole thing is buried to hide it from passers-by on the land side. And then on the cliff-top side, it's wall-to-wall glass looking out at the ocean. So
Wow.
For me, it's all going to be about the interior design. When you walk through the door, you want to have that same wow factor that you have just standing looking out from here now.
How exciting.
Of course, this house won't be just for Andy and Jeanette.
Hello. Well, hey, look at these two.
there are two other important family members.
Who's this one?
This is Nemo.
Hello, Nemo. How much do they weigh each?
Nemo's just short 12 stone,
Wow.
and Jess is just over 8.
You want to keep them well away from the edge, don't you? Really strong perimeter.
What I want is something that you can't see, but is a definite barrier to the dogs.
They're remarkable.
Yeah, they're great dogs.
I now realise it's a house for 4 large individuals.
Yeah.
You know, sorry, when I say large, you know what I mean.
The site came with planning, and Andy will draw upon his experience as an engineer to realise the project. Once the listening tower has been carefully dismantled, Andy will pour a thick, reinforced, waterproof concrete foundation slab. Some of the external walls will also be poured from concrete to form a strengthening, rigid, vertical spine to the building. Heavy blockwork and hard-wearing galvanised steel will support a layered roof made up of concrete blocks and beams, insulation, and then more concrete. This bomb-proof shell will then be wrapped in a rubberized, waterproof membrane before the whole building is then covered in earth. Andy still has to devise some form of dog control, possibly a retaining wall to keep his hounds from clambering onto the roof and out onto the cliffs. Inside, this single-storey building is all about the view. A large, open-plan living room and kitchen will serve as a viewing box westwards out towards Ireland. A corridor will then lead you to a spare bedroom and a study. And at the end, a private master suite to grab yet more views to the southwest. Having once sailed the Atlantic, Andy is all too aware of how treacherous an exposed location like this can be. In construction, of course, dangerous environments mean huge expense.
The total budget is £250,000 for the build. We've got a lot of waterproofing to take care of, some fairly large pieces of glass to put into position.
So where does the money come from to pay for all of this?
Savings and hard work, yeah. If the budget does run over, then we'll have to dig a little bit deeper into savings. I'll look after the project management, as it were.
Any consultants in the background you're using to help you here?
No
Engineer?
consultant, just me.
No architects?
No architect.
You sound very confident about this. Done this before?
Do I?
Yeah.
That's a good knack I've got then, sounding confident. The issues to worry about with this construction, it's on the top of a cliff. It's got a tremendously tight access, but the winds could be the biggest deciding factor. If it's that windy up here that people can't stand upright, then it's not safe.
Sure.
So on top of all those problems, Jeanette decided to give me an impossible deadline to work to, and it's got to be finished for next November for her birthday.
I like to set deadlines because without deadlines, things go on too long.
When do you start?
Tomorrow.
Good. Sounds like, sorted.
Yeah, we hope so.
Andy and Jeanette have rented a local cottage as a Scottish base for their year-long build. But Jeanette will miss much of the construction as she's taken on a new job and will have to be in America for at least 2 weeks every month. Leaving Andy to run the boating business, project manage the site and make the 5-hour commute each way from Yorkshire every week. An exhausting plan, but by no means the biggest threat to this project.
Building anywhere is a risky business, but here, with a 100-foot drop to the water and with potentially gale force winds, well, any attempt they make to mitigate risk on this project by detailing the design or controlling the building program, and all of that can at any moment be swept away by the forces of nature, literally.
Within a week of my visit, the demolition begins.
It's a bit more violent than I was quite expecting it to be.
There's a lot of risk with taking down the structure here. It's very close to the edge, and you need to take into account wind speed and whatnot.
Oh!
In just a few hours, the old listening station is gone. And the view from what will be Andy and Jeanette's living room is fully revealed.
You've got 180 degrees of open sea, haven't you?
I think you can just see Ireland over there.
All that's left now is the tower to come down. I'm sure the next 12 months before the deadline completion date are going to fly by.
But the following day, the winds pick up, and Andy and Jeanette get a taste of just how punishing this coastline can be.
It's not looking like good news, is it?
No, unfortunately. The wind's just too high, so it's not safe to work today.
The tower ignominiously comes down 2 weeks later. The elements have inflicted their first big delay.
The wind's going to be a feature on this site, and we're going to have to thread some of the key events in and around the worst of the weather.
By the new year, Andy is back in Yorkshire. But now it's not just the weather causing problems.
I've got a list here of all the information that I've had to supply to building control. Down in England, having done that, I'd be able to start immediately. And I thought the system was the same in Scotland as it is down here, and it just isn't.
Andy's building permit won't be issued for another 6 weeks.
We were ready to go, but I'm set now, waiting for 6 weeks before we can even think about taking the project any further.
Perhaps a little inexperience is beginning to show. By early spring, the site clearance is almost complete. But this project is now 3 months behind programme. And now there's more bad news about the budget.
What's the total project cost to build?
Original estimate was 250,000. We've narrowed the cost down quite a bit, and we're going to overspend by £100,000, I would guess. So that's the budget blown by about 40%, and we haven't cast a slab yet.
£100,000 is a big chunk of extra savings. But unfazed by the following month, and is already pouring his sturdy waterproof foundations.
We're casting today with a waterproofing admixture into the concrete. We can't afford to take a chance that we're going to get water inside because the whole thing's going to be buried at the end of the day. We should have all of this cast by lunchtime, providing there's nothing unforeseen happens.
But half an hour into the pour,
Thanks a lot.
the unforeseen does happen. Something nobody expected.
It's the wrong mix. It's not waterproof concrete. If we carry on using this, and it's going to leak water into the rest of the house.
Andy has to stop everything. He rather desperately needs the right concrete mix.
I need to speak to him urgently. The first wagon's turned up without any waterproofing admixture in it.
If the waterproof concrete arrives too late, it won't blend with the concrete that's already been poured. And that could cause cracking in the slab and a potential for water to easily get in.
At the moment, we can still mix it, but that's not going to last forever.
Some poor communication between Andy and his ground workers has led to a long, agonising wait.
I'm feeling really down about it. A lot of guys standing around doing nothing, just miserable.
Andy and Jeanette's cliff-top house has got off to a rocky start. They're 3 months behind and £100,000 over budget, and now they've got the wrong concrete in their foundations.
I've stopped them from pouring until they can put the right additive into the concrete.
Designed as a fortress impenetrable to all the elements, this house is failing at the first hurdle.
So we've been doing nothing now for like 4 hours.
But by early afternoon, the new waterproof concrete arrives.
I don't care whether he knocks the gate post over or not, so he just gets it in and gets it in time.
It is only just possible for the new concrete to be mixed with the old slab.
We were really lucky, another 15 minutes. I'm as happy as I could be on a cold and wet and rainy day in the middle of nowhere.
By the end of the day, the foundations are finished and waterproof. It takes a further month to finish the industrial-strength concrete spine of this building. And although the grey skies begin to clear,
We've got a bit of a problem with retaining all the earth.
the pressure on Andy is constant.
I'd spend nights and nights and nights losing sleep over what's happening, whether it's on programme, how much it's costing. As the project's going on, all I'm finding, I've just got more and more and more and more and more things to worry about.
By late spring, the brickies are on site.
That's the wall that runs the length of the corridor right to the other end of the house.
Andy's now spending much more time in Scotland than he'd planned, just to make sure there are no more oversights.
That one there I can't rely on so much, so... Can you pop it down onto floor?
Getting a sympathetic material to clad the external blockwork has been a bit of a trial, which has led them in the end to Edinburgh's Royal Botanic Garden and a rather remarkable wall.
It's been worked, so we get this nice linear appearance.
And the texture is really varied.
This highly compressed Caithness siltstone is from the very north of Scotland. It's tough, but like slate, it splits easily and smoothly, so you can build layers with little or no mortar on show, something that engineering Yorkshiremen dream of, it seems.
When we discovered it, decided we both liked it.
I just like the appearance of it, as Andy said, the linearness of it.
Yeah.
We then had to try and justify the cost of it.
Which is?
So we're looking at a £12,000 cost for the stone. So you're looking at a £7,000 hit on the budget. Everything's continuing to go in the wrong way at the moment.
What a
and Jeanette's
surprise.
not even got involved yet. So.
Is it because Jeanette's not got involved that it's going the wrong way?
No, I'm expecting it to accelerate as soon as Jeanette's got involved.
This is an extravagant choice for a project that's already well over the original 250 grand budget. By early summer, it's clear Jeanette's new job is going to be keeping them afloat and helping to support the spiralling costs.
Having the job has helped massively with, the money side of things, just meaning that we're not losing all our savings. The build itself, I'm not really interested in, bricks and mortar. Andy is. He loves it. He embraces it. So I'm quite happy to leave him to it. And to be fair, I don't really care.
As Jeanette heads back to the States, Andy starts his weekly 5-hour commute to Scotland. They now spend only a few days together each month.
What really is starting to wear on me is having to do this drive the day after Jeanette's flown back in from America. So she could be away for 2 weeks. She arrives on a Sunday, and then early Monday morning, I'm up and driving up to Scotland again. We didn't really anticipate her being away so often, having such a drastic effect on us.
There may be disruption at home, but on site, a glorious summer weather window means progress is swift.
Hold it there.
The galvanised steelwork has arrived.
You got your bolts in? OK, Dave, down now.
Here's to a successful day. Cheers.
After 4 months of construction, Andy now has a structure that looks more than capable of defending itself. The walls have been covered in a premium black waterproof membrane that will eventually envelop the entire building at a cost of 25 grand.
It's thick stuff. It's like a sort of pond liner, isn't it? Neoprene.
Took a lot of putting on. The waterproof admixture in the concrete.
Yeah.
Then the waterproofing layer on top. Then on top of that, there's a protection layer and a drainage layer.
So it's a little bit like wearing a wetsuit and then climbing into a dry suit and then finally climbing into a submarine just to be safe.
Probably. Yeah, well, let's hope it works.
Yeah.
This is a rare visit to site for Jeanette, and now the steels and walls are up, the internal spaces are becoming defined.
Ah, wow. And this is all going to be glazed around here.
Yeah.
Have you been around much?
No, not at all. I think the last time I was here, you were here.
Oh, was that really? Seriously? In terms of overall size and space?
I think it looks small.
Ooh.
It's only 2 bedrooms. It's not, you know...
Yeah, I think that's great. It's great.
Doesn't the steel look nice, all galvanised?
Doesn't it just?
Jeanette may have some concerns about the size of her new house, but now she's back in Scotland, she has no doubts about why they're moving here.
The whole reason that we came here in the first place was to have a holiday with the dogs. And they just love it up here, and we love it because they love it, so it's definitely part of the reason that we want to move here. To be on a beach where there is nobody else, and to take your dog for a swim, it might sound strange to some people, but it's fantastic. It's a great feeling. But we've just found out that Nemo's got bone cancer. Come on, this way. Come on. Come on. We've probably got about 4 to 6 weeks left with him, according to the vets. Good boy. To be able to come here and swim with him right now. Good boy. And to have, you know, some good memories of him here. Because unfortunately, he won't be here to see the house.
Andy and Jeanette are aiming to spend £350,000 on a clifftop house.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? August. Next life, I'm coming back as a crane driver.
Now, as they start work on the roof, the Scottish summer is playing havoc with their schedule.
We found ourselves trying to put the roof on today in the middle of August with a force 9 gale blowing in our faces. It's been raining all day and it's been a real problem.
In such extreme conditions, it takes almost 2 weeks just to complete the first layer of this super strong roof.
It's pretty bad now. See, the wind's got up and the rain's here too. You can't build in it like. You can see all that dark in the sky over there. When that hits, the wind level's going to go from the 20 odd mile an hour it is at the moment up to 40 or 50 mile an hour. It'll hit us in about the next sort of like 2 minutes. I think we all need to abandon this position and get downstairs.
Andy's attempt to get this house watertight is now being blown weeks off schedule.
Forecast says at 9 o'clock there's a 100% chance of rain. Winds are anywhere up to 45 kilometres an hour, and tomorrow it's going to get even windier. If we start putting any of that insulation up on the roof, it's going to blow away. I can't see we can do it today.
The wind batters this site for almost 3 months. And it's not until mid-autumn the roof finally gets its waterproof barrier.
The hardest part about this job is dealing with the wind. You just need to deal with it really. It's Scotland, that. You're never going to get great weather, so just is what it is, really.
The wind is still howling when they come to the most delicate installation, the glazing.
What we don't want is this wind picking up anymore. So let's get this framing.
This piece of glass they're putting in here now, the wind's blowing straight at them. But if the wind catches one of these pieces of glass and drops it on one at blokes, it's, you know, they're going to hospital.
1, 2, 3. Are you all right? Steady. Want to stop anybody? Everybody okay? 1, 2, 3.
£38,000 worth of sturdy double-glazed windows
1, 2, 3.
act like sails in gale-force winds.
Jesus, that ain't half picking up.
1, 2, 3.
It is a pain to get these windows in, but finally this project reaches an important milestone.
Big step forward. A couple of months now, it'll be home.
It's been a year since the old listening tower was demolished. For almost 3 months, Andy has battled the elements to get this house watertight. Now, almost to spite him, it's become unseasonably calm.
Every time I've been here, it's been glorious weather, but you've had some bad times.
When it's bad, it's really bad. It's just been impossible. Because when the wind picks up, it really picks up. It's extremes.
So, Jeanette, how is she feeling about the fact that you said you're going to get finished for her birthday, which is this month?
Yeah. I'm hoping end of January, middle of February, something like that.
Yeah. So is Jeanette going to be around much?
Well, the last time she was here, we had no roof on.
Oh, blimey. That's when I was here last, yeah. Right.
She contacts me every day from America, but the first question off her lips are, how are the dogs?
Yeah.
Specifically Nemo.
Yeah.
Then it might be how are things on site, and then how are you getting on?
Nemo continues to defy his illness, and Andy continues to fret as to how he'll keep the dogs away from the cliff edge. His answer, unbeknownst to Jeanette, might lie in a local quarry.
What do you want some big rocks for?
As the topsoil's rolling off the top of the hill, it's going to fall down at about 45-degree plane.
Yeah, to give out.
I need something a bit more vertical, so I'm going to use these to give me less of an overall footprint of the building.
Aesthetically, these boulders are going to look pretty powerful, perhaps odd, but they should deter the dogs from climbing up onto the roof and out onto the cliffs.
Thing is about Andy, right? I don't think he can resist getting involved at every level. He is.
This one is just split. Probably saved me about 15 quid on the cost of that one with that bit that's just split and fallen off.
Great. Project manager at work. He's completely in his element, isn't he? Have you found a good one yet?
I've sprayed about half a dozen. How he's going to dig them out of here, I don't know.
He'll just pick out the first 6 he can get hold of, put some red dots on them, bring them over. You won't know the difference.
Andy's rocks won't be the only stone on the side of the house. £17,500 worth of Edinburgh-inspired siltstone has arrived, but it's not right.
It's all been delivered in sort of like that depth stone. And what we need is loads of it like that depth. He said it splits down dead easy. It only takes 2 minutes, he said. I said, yeah, all right. Less than 2 minutes for one piece of stone, but there's 90 square metres of the bloody stuff. It's going to take somebody ages to split it. I have to speak to him about how much I'm paying for it, because there's a lot more labour involved in it when it's delivered like this.
This cladding was always an extravagant choice, and it now could double the labour costs. But it is beautiful and elegant and precise. A stark contrast to Andy's Barney rubble boulders.
They look like quite small rocks in that huge quarry, but now that they're here on site, they've all sort of like grown to double the size. Anyway, go on, spill it down there, let's have a look at it on floor and we'll see how we're going to put it in. I want this face facing out here and standing as upright as we can get it. It needs to sit upright, this one. I had this idea that we could bring these rocks in and sort of like artistically place them just so in position. You can't plan what you're doing with this kind of thing. It's just, they're going to be where they're going to be.
A few weeks before Christmas, Jeanette is back from America.
Nemo.
Thankfully, Nemo is still there to greet her.
There's nothing like the feeling of coming home to these two. They're just amazing. I mean, they obviously miss me just as much as I miss them.
Tomorrow, Jeanette will head to site for the first time in 6 months and get a good look at what Andy's been up to.
So what am I going to see when I get back up to Scotland?
The biggest change you'll see is in the outside. And it's something that's really permanent. And if you don't like it, there's not a fat lot I can do about it.
Let's wait and see.
Yeah, I'm nervous. She's not seen it for ages, and it's changed enormously since the last time she was there, so fingers crossed she'll like it. I hope so.
The following morning, Andy's day of reckoning begins.
So don't forget, it's not a finished article.
Oh my God. It looks horrific. I wasn't expecting it to be that bad. Awful.
That one there, that weighs 3 ton, that one.
Yeah. And what's that one there?
Spare.
Yeah, I think it looks brilliant.
I hate them. I was concerned about these big rocks that were being put in, and it all sounded awful, and it looks awful. I wasn't thinking I was going to be living in a cave.
I think Jeanette's really hoping the Flintstone aesthetic doesn't extend indoors.
So no heating on in here, but I mean, you can feel how much warmer it is, can't you?
Yeah, it's a lot warmer. It actually looks a lot bigger as well now. We've got the windows in. The view's just as spectacular as I remember. It's changed so much. It looks completely different, a lot bigger. Looks great, exciting. Got a great view, haven't you, Neems? Great view. Perfect dream view for a Newfoundland, the sea. So that's the view every night.
For 15 months, Andy has been the fearless mariner, battling the elements in this remote location. He's now nearing the end of his voyage.
You sail across the Atlantic, and then you get to that last little bit and you see land. That's a real punch-the-air moment. You don't get that with this. We're building the house. You just incrementally, you get closer and closer.
Those increments are measured in the layers of siltstone which go up painfully slowly. Inside, Jeanette is now at the helm.
Decisions.
And she has Andy laying each of the 841 floor tiles by himself.
Yeah, this is now my time. Andy's done all the boring stuff. I get to do all the nice stuff and see it all come together. I've been quite influenced by the area, actually. The sky and the sea, the colours, and that's really influenced the way that I want to have the house. I just can't wait now just to get in, get the furniture in and actually see how it will all look.
Of course, there is still one part of this building she can't change.
So if you think like Andy, you'll know that the best time to put a boulder into your project like this is when your other half is away for 2 weeks working abroad. If, on the other hand, you think like Jeanette, you will know that the best time to put boulders into your scheme is never. Now, the point is that tension there represents a bigger idea in architecture, which I really like. That every house, every building worth its salt will have ideas in it that nobody's ever really tried before together in that place at one time. Every good building is its own prototype. No one knows here whether this is going to really work, and no one knows here, myself, them included, no one knows here whether they're going to like it.
Over the last 20 months, Jeanette and Andy have travelled on a monumental adventure. They've now uprooted their lives in Yorkshire and made this isolated stretch of Scottish coast their permanent home.
Well, will you look at that, eh? Where there was a military listening station that became a building site. Where there was a building site, there is now a hill, a bunker.
There are now only hints and teases of a building here. Just clues that on this rugged coastal path, something of real quality hides.
Oh, but you see, actually, oh look, it revealed itself like a pearl in an oyster.
This house has now begun to fuse to the landscape. It's no longer a listening station. Now it's a lookout post. A home perched on top of the world.
Goodness, that is not a door, is it? I mean, that looks like a granite portal. Hello.
Hiya.
Hi, Jess. You both look relaxed, you know, there's no sight boots. The house looks beautiful.
Finished.
Yeah. I love the fact you approach the buildings, you approach it, it's like you can't see it. Then as you come around the corner, oh no, it's altogether a bit more homely, you know, a bit less opaque. And then actually it's completely transparent.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see both sides, you can see right into the building, can't you?
It's a fantastic feature,
To the
that.
sea. It is great, isn't it, as you walk through it across here. It's like such a surprise.
Yeah.
So the rocks, right?
The rock.
I mean, you were unmitigatingly critical when you first saw those. You hated them.
I did. I absolutely hated them.
Well, I kept saying, they'll be a lot better. Just wait while the grass has grown round them. And I'm, you know, even though I'm not the kind of guy to say I told you so.
I've kind of got used to them.
Go on, you can do it. Just
Go on.
stay there.
We've had some really nice comments from people who actually think that we've carved it into the cliffside and that we've done really well to keep those rocks in place. So that's kind of tempered it a little bit for
I
me.
suppose that does, yeah, that is flattering.
Look at the nice vertical surface it gives me there to stop dogs walking up onto the roof.
That was the point of doing it in the first place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Talking of which, you only have one with you. Nemo is no longer with us, is he? So how long is it since he passed?
It was June, wasn't it?
Yeah, about 6 weeks since we lost Nemo.
Yeah.
It just feels strange, particularly, you know, being in the new place without him. And it's very quiet without him. Jess is a much quieter dog. He was a much bigger character. So we definitely noticed that he's not around.
Well, how long have you been in?
2 weeks.
Well, I'd like to see it.
Gonna come in and have a look.
Come on then, Jess.
Outside, this building is all geometry. Angles cut with martial precision from rock, soil and grass, sliced into this site. Inside, however, all is serene.
Oh my goodness me. It's like a magnet, that view, isn't it?
View.
It sucks you in. The room is wonderful. I mean, it's beautiful. But you just kind of get drawn that way.
I wasn't prepared for the impact of the view until I actually moved in. I don't think it had really dawned on me just how amazing that view was going to be. And every day it surprises us.
I'm very aware that I'm standing on your handiwork, because you laid every tile here, didn't you?
Every tile.
In the buildings, a lot of them.
There's 8 weeks of my life in this floor.
Like Andy's sea of tiles, Jeanette's interior design choices are unpretentious. There are big ideas here, though. The kitchen is like the rugged cliffs below.
No, I like that. This is all very, strong.
Well, we've got so much light. There was no point having wishy-washy colours. That's why I went for the really dark kitchen, because I knew I could get away with it.
Yeah. It's also a very kind of elegantly done thing, because you've got this grab trough that runs round here under the drawers, top of the drawers, but it runs round, I noticed, runs around the side of it as well.
I like it. I didn't like the cost of it. There's an extra 30% involved in these doors compared to the full Highline doors, but
It's a nice
Jeanette
feature.
How much was it?
Well, initially the budget for this kitchen was going to be about £30,000, but we ended up spending about £40,000.
Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of cash to spend on some stuff that looks like concrete.
But there again, it determines the quality of this space. This and the view.
Yeah.
Time to tear ourselves away from the seascape and explore the bedroom wing that runs away at an angle, following the line of the cliff. There's a simple guest suite with a private balcony. And in here is what? This is,
It's the office.
Oh yeah. Oh, nice map. I like the map. And then, as you'd expect from Andy and Jeanette, a modest master suite with a walk-in wardrobe and a secluded enclosed terrace. The triangular walls that buttress the house also serve as privacy screens to make sure this viewing bunker is a house to be looked from rather than looked at. So in my opinion, every good home ought to have a naked view. That is, a window at which you can stand all day if necessary, look out and be absolutely starkers. And this house has several, not least this bathroom here, because look, the bath is right in front of the window. In fact, from anywhere in the room, you can enjoy that view. Andy can now call this calm, reflective sanctuary home. But of course, making it was the adventure of a lifetime. Whenever I talk about self-build, I liken it to, trekking across the Antarctic or sailing around the world, because it's one of those last big adventures that people imagine they can go on. It's something we can all do, actually.
These two things are, so similar. That you're faced with this whole series of obstacles to get you from A to B, and you work your way through them. You take it one incremental little mile at a time on the boat, and on the house it's every little individual decision you make from the start to the finish. You finally get there.
And did you doubt yourself at any point?
Not really. Doubts was something I needed to have felt right at the very beginning before we signed up to start spending money. Once I started spending on this, there's no room for doubt.
You'd set your course, you were off. Yeah, absolutely. In this corner of Scotland, Andy will always be remembered as the mad Yorkshireman who built a house on top of a cliff. In my view, that's a title he should be proud of. So you're liking it?
I love it here. I've loved it here for the 18 months that I've been working up here, but now that it's finished, it's miles better than I could have envisaged.
So just run me through the figures. You thought originally it was going to cost 250 grand to build. You told me.
Yeah, I told you that, but I just made them figures up. I felt confident I could build it for 350. I've overspent by 70 grand, 20%.
So 420?
420,000. I never built into the budget £15,000 for accommodation while I was living in the area.
Didn't account for the beautiful stonework.
The cost of that stonework alone represents about 10% the cost of the house.
Good heavens. So, you happy about this? As the breadwinner?
I think everything we've spent on it was well spent. Even the boulders are, acceptable now.
Oh, praise indeed.
This house was never part of the grand plan. This just came along and neither of us could resist it. I think because I was travelling so much, I don't think I ever really fully understood just how spectacular this place was going to be. It's just amazing, it's fantastic. I just don't see any reason to ever want to be anywhere else.
Andy and Jeanette have made a rock-solid, modest but alluring home to shelter and protect them against all the odds. It almost persuades a landlubber like me that I too could live by the roaring sea. This is a wild place, isn't it? I now realise why there aren't that many cliff-top houses on Scotland's coast. I mean, to build in a place like this, you've got to be prepared to put up something which is really strong and resilient, like this building is. You've got to be prepared also to take everything that Mother Nature can throw at you and and to find within yourselves, as Andy and Jeanette did, a similar kind of determination and resilience. Of course, the building will reward you, as this place has. It feels rooted, hunkered, and part of this place. And as a result, it makes them feel rooted and part of this place too. Circular buildings are difficult to build.
We actually think it's going to be easy.
You see the setting out drawings? Absolutely ridiculous.
It doesn't look right, it's not right. £600,000 of stuff getting ruined at the moment. I'm a bloody nightmare, really. I panic.
I think he's got something wrong with him. He'll run himself into the ground.
I'm a 100% workaholic. I like pushing myself to the limits.